Hey everybody, welcome to the Fired Up with CJ show. We have Shepherd Hoodwin, who is the author of Journey of Your Soul. And we're going to be answering the question that I'm sure you're dying to know during Valentine's Day, which is, do we have a soulmate? And if we have one, do we have more than one? And how do we know when we found our soulmate? So welcome, Shepherd.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So what can we tell those folks that are out there hoping to find their soulmate? Is there one out there?
There's a popular concept in the metaphysical community that there is just one true soulmate for each person, one true love that is the other half of you. And this is talked about in love songs and poetry and so forth.
Yes.
So if you're a heterosexual man, then your other half is a woman who is literally the other half of you, and vice versa for women. But according to Michael teachings and everything that I know about the spiritual world, that is actually not the case. We do have what Michael calls an essence twin, or twin soul, twin flame, which is a soul that we team up with at the beginning of our cycle of lifetimes on any planet, such as Earth, in order to have a growth partner. So this is someone who is most like us in higher levels of being, and someone who then, when we're together on the physical plane, which actually doesn't happen very often, can make for a very intense relationship. However, your essence twin, if you happen to know him or her, is not necessarily your mate. It could be your mother or child or best friend or worst enemy. Could be anything.
They're just there to help you grow.
They're there to help you grow.
Right.
Now, in the rare instance that you know your essence twin and that you are together in a mated relationship, it will be a very intense and powerful and maybe difficult relationship. But when people use the term soulmate, they're referring to any soul, actually, that you've had a lot of past lives with and that you get along with very well in a relationship. And although in the past we used to think of soulmate as a soul who works really well for us as a romantic mate, even now they've expanded the definition of that to refer to any kind of relationship. So your best friend could be a soulmate because you just get on so well and you understand each other so easily. You have a shorthand with each other. So that could be a soulmate also.
So it's really the theosophers that told us, oh, it's going to come in the opposite sex. And so that make us crazy during Valentine's Day, hoping that we'll find someone to kind of fulfill the other half of us. But it comes in, that person can come in many different forms, right? It could be your mother, a child, someone that you meet later in life, right? From what I'm hearing.
According to the Michael teachings, each of us makes a lot of agreements before we incarnate to have our life work for us in terms of what we're trying to get done in that lifetime. And one form of agreement is called a mate agreement. You make mate agreements with other souls that you already know, that you've known in other lifetimes, where on a soul level you've pre-approved each other, saying, if it works out for us to meet, if we're going to be in the same city, we can at least verify that this other soul would work for us on a soul level as a mate. That doesn't mean that when you get down here you will be mates, because there's free will, and that person may have ended up being on the other side of the planet because of the choices that he or she made. So for that reason, we make an average of 9 mate agreements, and some people have even 20
just to be safe.
Just to be safe. Like if you knew that you were going to be all over the place in this lifetime, you might make 20 mate agreements. And let's say you've met someone with whom you have a mate agreement. It may turn out that they veered from their plan. It may turn out that they became an alcoholic or a drug addict. And on a personality level, you have every right to veto that and say, you know what, I feel this connection that I have with so-and-so, but there's no way that I'm going to get involved with a drug addict. That's not going to work for me. You cross the person off your list and you say to the universe, next, bring me someone else that I may or may not have a mate agreement with.
Right. So that explains to people who, I've had a girlfriend who said, I was with my soulmate and now we're divorced. So what does this whole thing of soulmate mean? I'm like, I don't know. But it could be that you're like, you're one of 20. Next.
Yeah, right.
You didn't follow the plan that we agreed to. You ended up cheating on me, so you're out of here.
Well, your friend may have actually accomplished with her partner exactly what she, on a soul level, had intended to accomplish. So there's also this romanticized idea that in order for a relationship to be valid, it has to be forever and ever. Now, these forever and ever memes got started back in the day when the average person died at 40. So forever wasn't long.
Wasn't that long?
Yeah. But now forever might be 80,
Right.
and the soul might take a very different attitude about the life than the personality, and may say, you know what, we finished our work together. Let's release each other in love and move on to a new experience, because the soul is most interested in growing. The soul is not interested in attaining some utopian medieval idea of love everlasting.
Right.
But the truth is that as souls, we want a variety of experiences. So if there was just one true soulmate, you would grow less, because after you got to know a particular person for, let's say you had 3 lifetimes together as mates, it would be an easy relationship. It might be a really happy relationship, but it might not be that interesting after a while. And so the soul is curious about, well, what if I put my energy together with this other person who's very different? What would that bring out in me? How would I have to cope with dealing with those different energies? I might grow from this.
People in Utah with multiple wives, they've got it figured out. The whole sister wife thing. They're actually ultimately trying to do that for their own growth. I finally got it.
Okay, well, maybe not.
No, but that is, I'm such a jerk. But that is one of the best descriptions that I can think of, because people think, well, why me? And they take it personally versus just thinking about it as, hey, we're just curious as souls. We're here to grow. And both of us have gotten what we needed, or maybe one of us gotten, or you diverted from the plan, and it's time for us to move on. Wouldn't it be nice if all divorces just kind of ended that way instead of these bitter fights? Because that's really what it is, right?
Yeah, it can be. Yes, it can. There's just no way of making a generalization about it, because everyone's situation is different.
Yeah.
Now, some people mistake true love with karma, because let's say you murdered someone in a past life. When you meet that person in this life, that person may karmically want to kill you. But there's this incredible draw to that person because of the karmic bond that you have. And so people often mistake karma for love, because there's so much intensity and power, and maybe these long drawn out fights from all these unresolved emotions from the last lifetime together. And so people think that, well, that's love. It may have some love mixed in with it, but this extreme fire and intensity may in fact be karma. And then what happens is, if you repay the karma, then suddenly you're not interested in that other person anymore. The whole thing goes flat. So there's a lot of different factors in figuring this out. But what the soul really wants to get to eventually is a place where you love everyone unconditionally, and you see the good in every person, and you see the beauty and the attractiveness in every person. Now, that doesn't mean that you want to be romantically involved with every person, but the ability to be skillful in relationships, to be kind, to not react to their craziness, to be centered, will give you a lot more relationship options. Also, if you get your Michael chart channeled, you can learn a lot about what a good mating will be for you, because there's certain traits on your Michael chart that fit particularly well with other people's Michael charts. And it's not just one thing, it's many things.
Interesting. Okay, so you can go to your website, summerjoy.com, and is there a place there to get your own individualized reading?
Yes, if people click the red link for brochure, they can read about how to order a Michael reading chart.
That makes sense. All right, so we actually have Shepherd Hoodwin here, who is the author of The Journey of Your Soul, and you can read all about the various soul types that we just talked about in his book, The Journey of Your Soul. Thank you so much for being here. Fascinating information.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.